Now, here's one big question that I had in my mind with this, right? And I think it's an unfair question to ask. It's like, okay, after I come through Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, can I just leave the province, or can I leave Atlantic Canada and move to Ontario? And I feel like the whole point of the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program is that their labor force is either shrinking or non-existent. And because of that, they have to hire people internationally. And so going there just to get permanent residency and then leaving and going to another province kind of defeats the purpose of the whole program. Now, I don't see any information there saying that you're locked in to staying there for X amount of time. Now, maybe the information is there and I'm still doing my research to find the actual answer. But since the program is new, I'm not sure yet. But you do probably have to stick around for a couple of years with that employer in that province. And when you do want to move province, you might have to ask for permission from the province, because it is the employer first that gives you the job, and then the province gives you a letter to say that, okay, you are part of this province now, and so forth and so on. So can you just jump ship after you get permanent residency? I don't believe so. And I don't think that would be the right thing to do. It defeats the whole purpose of the program, and your interests, of course, your interests are your own and the government's interests are of that of the country. And so somewhere in between, you guys have to come together and know that they're trying to fill jobs over there. They're trying to build labor force over there. So they want you to be there and have children and then make the labor market look less daunting, right? So that is something that is very important to keep in mind, to consider. And what I'd say about the whole program in general is that if you don't have family in other parts of Canada, or don't have family in Canada anywhere, anyway, and so it doesn't matter to you which province you go to, then the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, I think, is a good step into Canada, where you have job security, you have a settlement plan, and you know exactly what you're coming to and what to expect. Now, the only thing of course, the most important and probably the one aspect of cost of living that you just coming to Canada are most interested in is housing. Because you have to live somewhere. Unless you come here, come live with family, then good for you. But eventually you're going to go out on your own, and you need to know what rent and housing costs. Now, I'm not going to get into the purchasing of housing, because if you're coming here, you just come here and you're going to buy something, then you don't need to watch this video and you're good. Okay, so you just don't watch the video because you're flossing and you got a lot of money. So yeah, for the rest of us, when I just came here, it was the year 2014. I had lived with my family first and then moved into the city where I was going to work and live, because it was so far away from where my family lived. At the time, I moved into a basement apartment. It was a very small basement apartment. It had a bedroom, it had a bathroom, it had a kitchenette. This is a kitchenette, this is a kitchen. It had a kitchenette and it had a front door. And it was $600 a month at the time. And, you know, at the time you're like, oh, that's a lot of money for a little bit of space. And if you know what places cost now, holy moly. So that was what it was in the year 2014. By the time I had moved out, which was about 4 years after, it had been increased fairly and unfairly over the years. And it ended up at 735 Canadian dollars a month. Now, in 2016, I was looking to move. And at the time, places were around $900 a month. And that was anything above ground. When you're just coming, you know, you can start out at a basement apartment. Basement apartments right now are about $1,000 average in general Toronto area. You're not going to find anything that's $600 as an independent space that you have to yourself. Right now in the general Toronto area, it is about $1,000. And future cost of living videos will get into different provinces, but right now we're talking about what I know, where I live, what my expenses are. So 2014, it was $600. Right now, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment and it is $1,600 a month. And that's just rent. That's just the living space, and it's an unfurnished space. So you get a kitchen with a fridge and a stove and a dishwasher. Hallelujah. For $1,600. Now that is average in the general Toronto area. It fluctuates. It ranges between $1,200 and $1,600. Now you can say like, well, why? Well, that's a 2-bedroom. I won't need a 2-bedroom because you're one person or something. The 1-bedroom apartment to this 2-bedroom apartment was $300 cheaper. That doesn't make no sense. That doesn't make no sense to me. It doesn't make no sense to me. I mean, it's cheaper. Yes, it's cheaper, but value for your money. A 2-bedroom apartment. The 1-bedroom with a den was like $50 cheaper than a 2-bedroom apartment. No, thank you. I'll take a 2-bedroom and we'll make the second bedroom when people come here. Cause my sister is coming. We are family. Hey, hey, hey. So that's that for the cost of. So that is what our monthly expenses are for accommodations. And note that the $1,600 is just the space. It's just the space. If you want light, if you want water, if you need somewhere to park your car, is extra. So parking is $75 extra per month. And that's not uncommon. Anywhere you go that has like formal parking, formal buildings, if it's a condo, apartment building, whatever it is, you're gonna have to pay for parking unless they include parking in your rent, whereby your rent is more expensive anyway. $75 a month for parking. So the closer you go to Toronto, the city of Toronto, the more expensive it becomes. So if you're in Toronto, a 1-bedroom apartment can cost you $2,000 a month. Now, if you go outside of Toronto, if you go to other cities, if you go to Brampton, Mississauga, Hamilton, Scarborough, Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, it's a little bit more reasonable than Toronto, or in Toronto, or very close to Toronto. I checked out what it cost in cities right around Toronto, like Etobicoke and North York, and a 1-bedroom was costing about $1,600, and that's just average, right? So it depends on the city that you want to go to. It will cost you a little bit more if you're close to Toronto. Most of the jobs are in Toronto, but you can commute. There is a train. There's all that wonderful stuff. Now, I appreciate the time that you're taking to watch this video. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe. It is free to subscribe. Click like if you like this video at the end of it, and share it with anybody who you think it might be beneficial to. See you in the next video.